Yeah, I think so very much. Actually, is my husband always comes back into the conversation, but before I started dating him, I was scared of God. I know it's such a strange thing. I had I had an abortion.
Okay.
And that abortion made me ashamed.
I hear you.
To the point where I couldn't walk into church without crying. I couldn't face God. I didn't want to talk to him. I wanted to hide from him. And when Kgolo met me, he's highly spiritual, and he prays, and he's a warrior. He's a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
And when I said to him, I'm not going to go to church with you, he was like, what the, it was quite taken aback. And he said to me, it's so important that you get in touch with God.
So there are aspects of my life that I will never reveal, that are between myself, my family.
On the third day.
That
one, yeah.
Like Christ himself.
What was that about?
I don't even know.
You went to a fancy restaurant in a beautiful place in South Africa. And he left you with
love them.
Roots, babe.
He's not circumcised.
And all of that. I mean, I heard the audible voice.
So Billy was holding.
It wasn't a decision.
Meaning I already do
myself.
Yes.
Will it marry what you say you're doing? Which
So Annie, you're busy singing now. Is that something new that we're about to expect from you?
Please don't ever expect that from me. I sing in my car, I sing in the shower, and that's it.
Drive time with Mrs. Ambition.
And I thank you.
Ne?
Yes.
Well, what's that about anyway?
So in my head, I have my own radio show
Oh.
when I'm driving.
Yes.
And that was just something cute that I came up with, and I think it just shows people like sort of my musical taste and invites them into my world, because I'm very silly when I'm driving, you know, and I like to dance as well in my car. So
Welcome.
yes, thank you.
People don't know what we go through to have these moments. I mean, everybody has crazy schedules. Thank you so much for coming.
No,
we really appreciate it. You look beautiful.
And you look
It's
beautiful.
nothing we're not used to. Because I'm always in black. Come on.
Oh, what is that, Sunny?
That fake hair?
I'm joking. You look good.
Thank you. There's something I came across that I found absolutely amazing, because it signifies what really your life has come to be.
Yeah.
Your marital name is Nompumelelo,
Yeah.
which means success for those who don't know.
Exactly.
Ne?
It's like they knew, Mthembu's knew that when Kgolo was going to get married to me, he was going to get the chakra, get the money, you know.
The path was carved. Yeah?
It was open.
Yeah. I mean, and when did you know he was the one? Which year was this?
See, now that's tricky. It's so strange, because I think the way that our relationship started was not very traditional.
Okay.
Because I was his PA.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really an interest on either of our sides in each other, strangely enough.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think maybe because I was good for his business, maybe he saw, okay, a life partner, because we can work together.
We can transition from just business into life.
Right.
Because relationships are life partnerships more than anything.
Right.
People love to focus on the minuscule things. People love to highlight mistakes, which, by the way, everybody has. But at the core of it, you have to build a life partnership with somebody you believe can propel you towards your success,
and grow
keep you in line, grow you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that for him was something very important, because work is extremely important to him.
Yeah.
So he's in love with his work. He's fully involved, and I think when he saw that I was adding a lot of value, he started to value me, and he wanted to get to know a little bit more about me, and then he's like, listen, let's date, bro. I was like, yeah, but
and not so much about you already, even the gory side.
I mean,
I've been exposed to all of it,
I've
right?
seen everything.
Yeah.
I've literally seen everything. And then I was like, but you know what? You must give people an opportunity.
True.
I was in a space of my life where I come out of a very horrible relationship.
Okay.
And Kgolo was literally alongside me for that entire relationship nearly.
And how long was that?
That was 5 years.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then when that relationship was over, because he actually helped pull me out of that dark place. I told him one evening while we were at work, we were at Rich actually, I was crying. I couldn't work because I was so distraught and devastated by what was happening in my relationship.
Was it a toxic relationship?
It was hella toxic. It was
Yeah.
abusive.
Really?
This person cheated. Like it
Yeah.
was so hurtful.
Yeah,
Do you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And Kgolo literally came and he said, "We're gonna take you out of this space,"
Mhm.
because I was living with that person as well.
Oh my.
So he said,
So they sort of made you super dependent on them in a certain way. You know, toxic people, narcissists,
"Yes."
whether you need the person financially or not, they have a way of working you mentally
Yes.
to a place where you think I am nothing without this person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think I was very dependent emotionally
Yes.
on that person, and it's probably why I stayed so long through all of the bullshit, you know. And Kgolo said, "Listen, we're gonna take you out of the space, and we're gonna take you out right now." And he took me to a safe space, and I just think, you know, maybe that was also that sort of appreciation and trust, and because he knew where I was coming from, and he said, "I'm gonna take you to a safe space."
I met Kgolo in the year 2016. I was staying at the courts in Umhlanga.
Yes, okay,
Yes, and he
yes.
was like 2 doors
He's your
away.
neighbor.
Yes. So that I knew his hustle from then.
Yes.
He was still driving a Mercedes-Benz convertible, if I
Yes,
remember
the
correctly,
E-Class,
the
blue
E-Class.
one. Mhm.
Yes, so Kgolo actually did it from scratch.
Yes.
I'm cognizant of that. Were you in the picture then already?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the E-Class was something him and I debated about, because I was like, "No, my G, get a SUV,
Yeah.
be that guy," and he was like, "Nah, I want to be smooth and sexy, you know, with the drop top E-Class." But yeah, I was his PA at that point.
Oh, you were still his PA at
Yes,
that point.
I wasn't his romantic interest.
Not
or
his
anything.
romantic
Yes,
interest.
I was just his
Okay. Do you think there are aspects of the pain that you survived in the past 5 years of the relationship that you were in that you've had to unlearn in your relationship with Kgolo?
Definitely, and I think this is something we actually discussed on Housewives in season 2. I said that we've been through a lot of shit, and we were sitting out in the safari,
Yes.
whatever it is, and they were trying to ask me questions about Kgolo's cheating,
Yeah.
or whatever. If Kgolo cheats, how would I feel if Kgolo cheated? And I said, "Listen, we've been through shit.
Mhm.
Not necessarily to say that he's cheated, but because of the behaviors that I had to unlearn,
Absolutely.
I've put him through shit,
Yeah.
you know."
Which is personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the shit that we had to deal with. I had to mature.
Yeah.
I really had to grow up. I had to understand that I'm really dating an adult.
Yeah.
Because he's 11 years older than me. You know.
Interesting. I didn't know this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his mindset was different,
Yeah.
and he was about work. He was about progress. He was about uplifting me. Like he always said to me, "You're a brand,
Yes.
and you need to start treating yourself like that."
Yeah.
You came from this place, you have a dance company, you have a promotions company.
Yeah.
I see you doing your thing, but now you need to be a boss lady for real,
I get that.
you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, "Stop being childish. Stop having problems with," because I used to have issues with him going to work.
Okay.
It used to trigger me, like madly.
Because of everything that was done to you by a person who ought to lie about going to work,
Right.
lie when they're unavailable. Now you're nervous. You're like,
Yes.
"Where's this person? Why are they not texting me back? Why are they not calling me
100%.
back?" Meanwhile, Kgolo was at a point in his life where he needed to be away because he's building. He's
Yes.
building a multi-million rand empire that we know right now.
I mean, since him and I got married in 2018, he's opened up 3 more businesses. So you must understand that
That's
he had,
only 4 years, and that's incredible.
right?
Yeah.
He had one business when we started dating,
Mhm.
which was 47th Avenue, and then he actually had a Kgolo Da Guru Experiential, which was also an agency, creative
Yes,
agency,
yeah.
which is where I was actually working at the
Mhm.
time. And then, yeah, he was like, "Head down, we're trying to get this squad, baby girl. Don't keep me back. Don't make me stay home. Don't let your insecurities stop me from progressing. It's also stopping you from progressing."
Yeah.
And I just had to like suck it up and man up, and yeah, he really helped to mold me into the boss bitch you see before you.
Okay, fair. I mean, who is loud and some debatable with that now. but with being a boss bitch, it also comes with a lot of detractors, right? Don't those detractors, the things they say to you, bring back those insecurities, especially those insecurities that were in the past relationship? because people say things a lot in the social media, even on the platform that you've chosen to be on Showmax. People use personal hurtful things to poke at you. You may be a boss, Annie, but doesn't it hurt sometimes?
Okay, if I know it's untrue,
Okay.
I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
What I do give a fuck about is people who can create things, but they cannot substantiate them.
Yeah.
Then I'm like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But yeah, most of the shit that goes on, I mean, Annie was a stripper. I'm like, okay, babies, I'm gonna twerk. Anyways, I'm gonna shake my ass if I wanna shake my ass,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
There's like a few things, they don't hurt me per se. I think what hurt me the most is, I think I spoke about it this season, is definitely the attack on my physical features. Because
Yes.
I'm aware, I'm sure even you can look at me now and you see, this eye is a little bit smaller than that one. You know, and it's been something I was aware of. It's a change to me because my daughter is only 3 years old now, and it happened when she was born, like
Okay.
literally 2 days before she was born. So that's something that I've had to kind of accept as my new features.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
before I felt like my face was perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and now this is it, you know? So when other people start pointing that out, then I can be like, okay, this is a little bit uncomfortable and it doesn't make me feel good about myself.
Is this not though Annie an opportunity to realize that the boss bitch Annie, who has been privileged with a successful life, who's still growing her brand,
Yeah.
who's still growing her successes in her own right, you've also been privileged with having a brand that's on an international platform.
Yes.
You are currently streaming in the United States of America and people know who you are.
Yeah.
That Annie actually needs to dig deeper and say, whatever I may look like physically, those things don't matter as much. That's about who I am. And I need to work intrinsically on who I am and I keep becoming a better version of myself intrinsically. So that each time that this show is renewed, each time people see another season, they see a deeper Annie. They see a more grounded Annie. They see a full woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that. I think it was just a shocker for me that it became such a big talking point. But I think now I'm just like, okay, look at myself. I don't feel too hectic about it. I did want to fix it, but then obviously I decided against it. You know, I'm just chilling with it. And definitely it's a learning curve.
Yeah, I think you're beautiful, so.
Thank you so
And I'm
much.
sure your husband does too. I want to speak about your family now. Let's move away a bit from your marriage. I understand you grew up in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
Your whole life?
Not my whole life. So I'm what you call a nomad,
Okay.
right? I was born in Joburg. I grew up in Cape Town. From Cape Town, we went to Ireland. From Ireland, we went to Kimberley. From Kimberley, we went to Johannesburg. From Johannesburg, we went to the UK.
Okay.
And the UK was the last place like where I finished my schooling. We were there for about 5 years or so, and then we came back to Durban.
5 years in the UK. Is this with your nuclear family, your mom, your dad?
It's with my mother and my little brother.
Your mother and your little brother. So there is no dad in the picture.
No, my daddy is there. So my father has a business in South Africa, and it's quite successful. So for him, the UK, he tried a little bit to come over, but he realized he was not going to be able to sort of afford the lifestyle that he would want and that he was used to if he stayed in the UK. So he came back to South Africa. He's an advocate.
So the UK move was primarily your mother's career choice.
Yes,
And
it
then
was.
obviously she taking her kids with.
Yes.
Okay. And what were those 5 years like for you? I'm asking this because as a nomad, as a person who's moved so much, something changes, man. Something shifts when you travel.
Yeah.
And especially when you relocate.
Yes.
You are able to define yourself beyond the borders of these South African borders.
Yeah.
And you're able to become, I'd say, a fuller person because you understand different cultures, you're sensitive to people's different experiences.
Yeah.
What would you say that part of your life has done for you in the person you are now?
I definitely think, like you say, it's sort of broadened my mindset. What is also amazing is that I was able to take experiences that I've had overseas and be able to bring them home. Like the concept of a go-go dancer was not really something South Africa or Durban saw, you know. So when I came back to Durban from the UK, I had a strong passion for dance. I was already dancing as a go-go dancer in the clubs in the UK while I was also doing commercial dance work. But in Durban, there was no space for commercial dance work because the dance industry is tiny.
Yes, yes.
You know, there's like rarely any work. And I said to myself, I'm going to create an opportunity for myself because the main market clubs in Durban don't have dancers.
Yeah.
Only the white clubs had dancers
True.
at the time.
True.
And I said, this is
A niche.
a niche for me.
Yeah,
And I can make money.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did.
Yeah, the rest is history. So definitely, traveling does open up people's minds.
100%.
Our passport is not the greatest, but it does give you access to quite a few countries, over 100
Yes,
countries,
yes.
without having to get a visa. So people firstly have to log on to the internet, do the research, and travel
Yeah.
more than anything. I know you wouldn't want people not spending their money at rich and views, but they should travel also.
No, definitely. I think travel is very important.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I travel, I learned amazing things. I mean, if you look at Views, the concept for Views was actually created in New York.
Okay.
So Holo and I traveled to New York to look at speakeasies.
Mm-hmm.
So when Views first opened, there was this amazing entrance with the bookcases,
Mhm.
and then it had a sliding bookcase,
Sure.
a secret entrance
Yeah.
that you would go through into this like bar area,
Mhm.
right? And it was very rustic and old school. And that is the initial idea. So we went to New York and we checked out all the speakeasies, which are like these undercover clubs that were open during the 1920s,
Mhm.
during the alcohol prohibition. So they had to find different ways of getting people in to drink because obviously it was against the law. And they're amazing. I mean, they have so many cute entrances. You
Yeah.
have phone booths. You have a knock on the door and the experience of that, I think, made us very excited for that Views concept. But I think Views grew beyond us.
Definitely.
And that idea was no longer feasible because so many people wanted to be at Views.
Yeah.
And we just had to like make it more of a rooftop venue because everybody wanted to be outside. Our main idea was
Yeah.
to do an inside little bar,
Yeah.
but everyone wanted to be outside
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
So it just became a rooftop bar.
What makes one successful in, I'd say, the hospitality industry like that? I know this question is a bit broad, but what do you think? Okay, maybe let me not say what makes you successful. What has given you longevity? Longevity. Yes.
Do you know what? It's definitely Kgolo. Kgolo is a personable person. He loves people. He engages with people so well. He will say to me, "The people made me."
Mhm.
Literally, he is very humble. He goes to greet all of the people who come into his venue. He will literally go table to table, greet them, shake their hands. How are you? How are you doing? And it's that builds relationships with your customers that give you that longevity.
That word. There's been like a super explosion of fame that has come into your life, and when I look at it from the outside, for example, my podcast is still growing; it's only a year old,
Yeah.
and I get weird when I get into spaces and people recognize me, or they say, "Oh, I enjoyed that episode," and I'm like, "I'm just getting a drink." You know what I mean?
Yes, I get that.
So when it comes at the level that you've gotten it at,
Yeah.
purely because of the success of Real Housewives of Durban, how are you handling that? And are these things we are seeing real?
So definitely it's reality TV, you know. I mean, I think the only difference is that ordinarily I would not meet up with these women. So they put us in a group and they arrange meetings for us.
Okay.
And then that's what plays out.
Yeah,
That's what you
yeah,
see on TV.
yeah.
But on my day to day, I'm not in contact with most of these ladies. I don't talk to them. They don't cross my mind. They don't affect anything that happens in my life. So yeah, that part is And then in regards to dealing with the explosion of fame, it made me uncomfortable for a while. And what is, I think, good about me being on the show is that I had to learn to deal with people because I was an introvert.
Really?
Yes, I was a very bad introvert. So Risha will say to you, the first time we met each other, I literally scurried past her and I
Yes.
sat down in my little corner,
Yeah.
and they were all like kikiing with each other. Oh my gosh, how are you? Because I had big personalities. It was Ayanda, it was Nonku, it was Sorisha, Homotso, that they had, you know,
The
those-
energies.
The energies.
Yeah.
And they were very confident
Yeah.
women. And I was not at a very confident place yet, you know, and so I just sat like a little mouse.
Sure.
While all of them were like
Yeah.
busy with each other. And the show taught me, gave me more confidence. You know, how do you deal with different people? How do you make friends? Because that's also something I struggled with. So yeah, I think that's good, and that's also now helped me with the greater public, because now I can greet you and say, hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, your daughter is so cute. Oh, we're taking pictures, yes. You know, and yeah.
Are you feeling though as if there are cast members who go beyond the requirements? And when I say requirements, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you guys are acting, but when you are in a group setting, there are people who go super personal, super mean, super vile, just because they want to be the one that trends.
We know who you're talking about. And definitely, I think this is the first time I've actually met up with that. You know, for this season 3. I think prior to this, we were all pretty cordial with each other, you know. I think there were some uncomfortable things, obviously, with like Lucy, for example, where I was like, who exactly are you? Because I want to feel comfortable, you know, and I want to know a little bit about someone in order to get to that level of feeling comfortable. So yeah, that was really it. I think only this season I'm experiencing something that's very new in terms of someone who is just doing too much.
Yeah. Do you think, now that you've experienced a true level of violence from someone, do you think from the past seasons you owe anyone an apology? And you might have been too mean to them.
Have I been too mean to people? Ooh, it's a bit tricky. Listen, I think I'm gonna go back to my conversation about Lucy in particular. I've admired her. You know, she is very resilient. When she has a plan or something that she wants to do, she executes. You know, and she's very like tunnel vision. And even people who DM me like, oh, I love Lucy, and I'll be like, as you should, because she is that girl. Do you know what I mean? I think for me, I don't know if it's a matter of apologizing, but maybe my mindset has softened a little bit in a way to say, okay, I can see why you're trying to be more private. My only thing is that it's not really the platform for privacy per se. But yeah, I think that also we never gelled. You know, even like off screen and whatever it is, there was never that.
You just had nothing to talk about.
Like and it all just I think because of the space that I was in, the way in which I was growing, I was unable to empathize with her and where she was coming from. You know, because I was still growing up myself. And then now I think that I've matured 3 seasons in. Now we are seeing like people who are even outside of the show still coming to attack you and create things, and you're just like, oh shit. Do you know what? Maybe I should have just left her to do
I get you. Perhaps then she took the right decision if privacy is a big thing for her to not come back.
Yes.
That's the right way of being private.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, there's also a narrative that people speak about a lot, that women shouldn't be fighting each other because they already have men who are harming them. They already have men who are not treating them well. The society has issues with men. Would you say by being on The Real Housewives, you are perpetuating a culture where women are always fighting?
See, now this is a bit of a tricky one. For me, I don't think I'm perpetuating a culture where women are not always there for each other. I feel like there are opportunities where you see us come through for each other. There is times where some are down and you lift them up. There are the friendships that have been built and created on the show. So I don't think it's all bad and horrible. But what we need to realize that in real life, we are not friends with everybody.
True.
Okay? On your day-to-day, are you going to go into a space where you don't like someone and sit there? No, you're not.
You don't. You avoid that space.
You avoid that space. But I can't avoid that space. We can't.
You're in a contract and you sit at the same table.
100%. So what happens? All those clashes of personalities and whatever, they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that is what it is. But on your day-to-day, you would just not be with that person.
Yeah. And further to that, it's always feels like an unnecessary pressure that is placed on women to say that there must be this strong sisterhood.
Yeah.
As you're saying, people naturally are not going to get along all the time.
Yes.
For various reasons.
Yeah.
People are just not designed to be all loving kumbaya,
100%.
you know?
So yeah, I feel like there is a pressure, and for me, I very boldly say, if you do not like somebody, you do not need to entertain them.
Yeah.
You can literally just mind your own, and for me, it's always be true to yourself. You have to feel peace within yourself first before you can give anybody else peace. And for me, I love a clean energy. I love to say, this is who I am, this is how I feel. We can gel with that or we can't. And either way, it is okay.
Yes. Something more positive. How are the Irish twins?
Oh jeez, they are little terrors.
Really?
They're growing up really nicely. They're starting to like each other because I think because they were so close together.
Okay.
My daughter, who's the older one, she didn't have an opportunity to be a baby.
Okay.
Because straight when she was about 1 year old, there was another baby.
Yeah.
And that baby had time and attention because it was like
The younger one, yeah.
So she's grown up. She's quite mature for her age, but yeah, I think now that they're in a similar space because he's turning 3 and she's turning 4, now we can all like get the same attention and we can all play together nicely, and we have similar interests now as well, and there's not that big divide because they both potty trained, they both can walk, they both can talk, they know what they want, and it just makes it easier.
I get that, but with running so many businesses, both you and Kgolo, do you not have parent guilt that you're not spending enough time with them?
Oh, is that parent guilt? I enjoy going to work, guys. I say I'm gonna go to work, you go to school, baby. See you later. No, I don't feel like I have parent guilt. My kids, I think I'm blessed that they enjoy school and they enjoy socializing. And the time when I'm not with them, I'm at work and they're at school. Generally, we weren't gonna be together, of course. Only when I have to go away, like I did the Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards. I was gone for a week because I had to be in Durban. Then that's when you start feeling guilt. I even cry, like I'm gonna miss you so much. Yeah, like bro, I cry. But yeah, because every day to see them and just have that cuddle and that communication. How was your day?
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
And how are they dealing with walking in at Woolworths and people recognize mommy? That must be so weird. Like, mommy, why are people coming up to you, taking pictures with you?
I don't think that they get it yet.
Okay.
And the funniest thing is, even when they're alone with the nanny in the mall, they get recognized. So they are like little celebrities on their own, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a big deal for them yet, but
yeah, they don't see it yet. Maybe
they don't see
later
it
on.
yet.
I do have an older daughter who's turning 18 this year.
Really?
Yes. So she's Kgolo's child from a previous relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
Does she stay with you guys as well?
Yes. Well, this year she's actually gone to stay with her mother again.
Okay.
But she has been staying with us for the past like 5 years or so.
Okay. And interesting, how's stepmothering?
She makes it so easy.
Really?
She makes it amazingly easy. She's always been very close to me. She loves to dance as well. So even when I was Kgolo's PA, her and I, like when she used to come to work, because obviously sometimes, that happens during school holidays, it's Kgolo's turn to take the baby and she comes to work. We would dance, do like TikTok videos together, and we always had a vibe.
Do you see where it all stems from though? So as a man, you recognize who your child is gravitating towards as well, because it wasn't just about him and his feelings towards you. He was looking at you as a businesswoman. Are you capable to support him in his businesses? And then he saw you as a mother as well with his daughter.
Yeah.
And you didn't have children then, right?
I didn't know.
So he recognized all of these. So it comes back full circle.
I guess it does. I've never thought of it like that, honestly speaking. But Hotato makes this thing very easy.
Oprah Winfrey and Stedman Graham have been together almost 40 years without being married. And in one of Oprah's books, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me, it's called What I Know for Sure.
I have this book.
That's
I have read this book, yes.
Oprah speaks of one of the things she knows for sure is that she doesn't want to get married, and that's because she's saying by not being being married, she would have been succumbed to many traditional expectations of marriage, and that wouldn't have made Oprah Winfrey the brand possible.
Right.
And the reason she believes in Oprah Winfrey the brand more than anything in the world is because Oprah Winfrey the brand is a server. She served lives. She saved lives. She's been a giver.
Yeah.
And she thinks all of that giving would have had to been for her little family and her 2 kids.
Yes. I think that's something I can definitely sort of agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like marriage should not be in a box, firstly. It shouldn't limit you as a woman or as a man what you can and cannot do. I think as a couple, there needs to be an understanding, you know? Like for me, I'm not a homemaker. Naturally, I am not. My parents taught me things like proposal writing. They taught me great business acumen. They taught me financial intelligence, you know, and those were the things that my parents focused on when they were bringing us up.
Yeah.
They didn't teach me how to cook. They didn't make it important that I clean. I've always had nannies. I've always had people in the house helping cleaning. I was unfortunately that spoiled child who wakes up in the morning and runs out and comes back with her bed done. You know, so those things were never important to me. But the things that were important, like I said, is proposals. Being able to communicate your ideas in order to get that financial.
I get that.
You know what I mean? And I think that is what my partnership with my husband is about. The fact that we both have the same goal of growing our sort of legacy for our family, making money to support each other and support the family and also the greater family, not just our household alone. You know, there's his family on the side, like his sister, his mother, whatever it is, and his brothers, and there's also my family. Like myself and my sister have an agency that we took over from the agency I used to be Kgolo's PA.
The experience, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So now my sister and I are doing amazing experiential work because of that opportunity that Kgolo presented to us, you know, that helped me learn what is an agency, how do agencies run, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And my sister has always been creative, and that allows my sister and I now to also create our own family legacy.
Yes.
So it's really bigger than us.
I'm intrigued by you saying creating family legacy because I personally believe that we live in a culture where the family unit or the culture of family has been obliterated. People say do your own thing, be an independent man, be an independent woman, travel the world, do this. And that aspect of creating families, people are no longer valuing, right? And I'm realizing something, the Jewish community, the Muslim community, those people are successful because of families.
100%.
We need to bring back the family unit.
It's very important. And this, I think for us as Black people, it is so important that we look at those cultures.
Yeah.
Indian people
too, yeah.
They have each other's back
Yes.
as family. I'm gonna put my family on.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put my friend on.
Yes.
I'm gonna put the person in my community on.
First, before I go anywhere else.
Before I go anywhere else.
Yeah.
Whereas us as Black people will be like, oh, I want to keep this little bag to myself. Where can I find someone outside of my community that I'm going to interact with instead of the person right here who can
Yes.
I can either groom, do the same thing, or I can support. And yeah, I see that often. They want to keep everything here because it's like they're scared. We're so scared that it's going to be taken away from us. That you, who's doing something similar to me, may take my portion of the pie.
True.
Whereas in Indian communities, they are sharing the pie.
And the pie is big enough. I strongly believe the pie is big enough.
It is.
We really need to get out of this competition mentality.
Yes.
Because money in the Black community comes in and it leaves immediately.
Yeah.
It comes in and it goes to Diamond Walk immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't circulate a number of times within us.
Within the community, 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's the mistrust.
Yeah.
And it comes from a long sort of history of being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
and that, yeah,
We're unlearning. It's gonna take a while.
It's gonna take a while for us to unlearn.
But those of us who have been privileged with access, success, opportunities, we also need to be conscious of the fact that we are prolonging the harm if we don't make a conscious decision to share.
100%.
I'm not saying give people who are unworthy and undeserving opportunity, but if you see that, for example, Lungelo, you've got a podcast, it's still young. I'm Annie, I'm on traditional media, I'm on Showmax.
Yeah.
You coming to my podcast co-signs my podcast as a platform, right? So you didn't lose much from doing that. But all you did was your 10 minutes of research. You probably logged on, looked at the podcast and said, this person is trying, they've got legitimacy, then let me go and burn the candle with, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's important that we do that where we can,
It
as
is
much as
definitely
possible. Yeah.
important, yeah. I mean, even for me, I always feel like I literally take the people around me and I uplift them. If you see my current, I'm going to call her my PA, her name is Kgolo. She used to be a dancer in my dance company. She came to me when she was like 19, and now she's an account executive in my creative agency. I have another dancer, Ziggy. He also was a dancer for me, he was a choreographer for me, and now I've taken him into my creative agency as well.
Yeah.
Another lady called Shakil, I gave her my dance business when I realized that I have no capability of running it anymore and giving it the right attention. She was with me since she was young, 16, you know. I used to take her to gigs, pick her up and whatever it is, and then it came to a point where I'm like, you can run this business. And now she runs it, and she does it better than what I do.
Yes,
she has
yes.
more clients than what I do, you know. And on the side, she's also creating her own brands in terms of clothing and whatever it is, and she's just growing herself. At my salon, also, I get like 2 people a year from underprivileged communities, and I teach them beauty, and I put them through school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we all need to grow. We need to get humanity to grow with us. You know, we need to give people opportunities that didn't have opportunities before.
Sure.
And I'm very, very much about that. I think it's so important that we give people the chance, even when they don't see it in themselves. You say, I believe in you and you can do this. So let's grow you as a person.
Annie, who do you pray to?
God.
Okay. It's actually not an obvious answer.
It's not. I agree with you. I would have said Allah.
True. I've interviewed more than 50 guests,
Yes.
and the people who say I don't pray to anyone, I don't believe in anything.
There's also that.
There's also that,
Yeah.
right? The reason I ask who you pray to is because in the production you're surrounded by people with very different spiritualities,
Yes.
very vast spiritualities.
Yes.
And people seem to pray a lot on that show.
No, we do. And I actually encourage praying.
Yeah.
I encourage it all the time. Like the reason we started praying during dinners is because I will say, guys, let's pray
Yeah.
before we eat. And then I naturally let Nonku lead because for me, she was the person who sort of has that background.
She was on this chair and she said she's a pastor, so you can
Right.
say she's a pastor.
Right.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, cool. And then obviously now we have different people, and I embrace all kinds of spirituality, honestly speaking. I mean, I take something from Sarisha. She's obviously, I think it's Hindu.
She's Hindu,
Yeah. And she will tell me this is the sort of ritual, whatever that I do, and I do them like this, and it does this for me. I'll be like, okay, let me try that out, you know. Or sleep. We'll say, I light white candles for purity and whatever it is. You should pray with the white candles.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, cool.
Yes.
Sleep. I'm gonna try that out.
Yes.
So literally, you know, I take what I think is gonna work for me, and I go with that. But ultimately, I pray to God.
And do you think that the spiritual aspect of yourself keeps you grounded? And if that wasn't there, we'd see a different Annie?
Yeah, I think so very much. Actually, you know, is my husband always comes back into the conversation, but before I started dating him, I was scared of God. I know it's such a strange thing. I had an abortion.
Okay,
And that abortion made me ashamed
I hear you.
to the point where I couldn't walk into church without crying. I couldn't face God. I didn't want to talk to him. I wanted to hide from him. And when Kgolo met me, he's highly spiritual, and he prays, and he's a warrior, he's a prayer warrior.
Yeah.
And when I said to him, I'm not gonna go to church with you, he was like, what the, it was quite taken aback. And he said to me, it's so important that you get in touch with God. And my parents brought me up in the Catholic Church. I've gone through all the processes. I've been confirmed. I've had First Holy Communion. Every single church process. I used to go to Sunday school every Sunday. Like, I'm well learned about religion and the Catholic religion and the Bible. But I just fell off for so many years because of shame. And Kgolo brought me back to God.
Yeah.
And now it's really what holds me together.
Thank you for sharing that, something so personal. The reason I'm thanking you is because, once again, as a woman of influence, it's important that this is on a platform that's worldwide. It's important for women around the world, regardless of what background they come from, regardless of what social setting they come from, economic setting they come from, to know that their body is their body.
Yeah.
Their emotions and their decisions at a certain time are valid.
Yes.
And moving on from that shouldn't put you in a place where you're depressed,
Yes.
you're guilty, you're feeling invalidated, you feel like
100%.
you're divorced from God.
Yeah.
No,
It shouldn't.
it shouldn't.
Yeah. But I think I was so young.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that maturity. It's like when when my son does something wrong, he doesn't want to come to me. He goes to run away. And I
Yeah.
think it's a similar
I
thing.
get you. Yeah.
But when he's older, he'll be able to take responsibility and say, "Okay, Mom, I'm sorry that I did
Yes,
this."
yes.
And that's basically the process that I went through with finding God again.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think where you are with God now is where you really think you should be?
100%. Crazy. Meeting sleep, crazy. Has actually opened. Has opened up a different spiritual access for me.
Okay.
Sleep. First time she met me, she said, "There's a person with you. That's always with you." I said, that's a little bit freaky, Snee. What you mean, And I had seen this person before, but I didn't take it seriously. Or I was like, okay, there's this person that I see from time to time. And she's like, this is your spiritual guide. This is the ancestor who walks with you to protect you. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then we started figuring out that I have like a certain gift and whatever it is, and it's just become so an eye opener for me, because there are things that I've said and done in the past that I didn't realize that I was doing. Now looking back on them, I can say, oh, okay, this is because of this gift. And yeah, I think that I'm definitely in the right spiritual space because I'm accessing the gifts from God that I had all along, but now I'm spiritually aware of them,
Yeah. Do you think you're misunderstood?
And I misunderstood.
Yeah.
This question. People are going to judge you based on their own personal experience.
Okay.
So
A lot of projections.
A lot of
Yeah.
projections. So wherever you are coming from, whatever your background is, however you grew up, or whatever influences that you have in your life, is what's going to make you judge the next person. So I don't want to say that I'm misunderstood. I think that I'm understood by different people from their context of life, and that's okay.
We're nearing the end of our episode, but for purposes of, because I know people would just want to know, and this is not the type of platform,
Yeah.
but are you all people for curtains and
Guys, curtains.
like all kinds of curtains?
50K curtains. Oh my! I laughed. I'm not going to lie. When all of that stuff came out, my husband and I were giggling so hard. I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, your smear campaign is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you want to come against me, and this is advice for my enemies, do it in a clever way.
Yeah.
Do it in a believable manner. Don't drop 3 items of news in the same week just to show how angry you are.
I get you.
Rather, pace it out. Think of the long game. If you're gonna destroy me, you gotta have a proper plan about it, my babe. Yeah, it was just, it was super, super ridiculous. And I don't know, bro. 450 for curtains. What do you feel like? What sort of curtains are those? Like, are they from the South runway?
Well, we got a very beautiful home, and we haven't seen every room. So in my head, I was like, curtains can cost like 100K.
They said these curtains are from season 1, firstly. Secondly, they said it was in Durban North. I've never had a house in Durban North.
Yes, you don't. I know that. Yeah.
So I was like, from season 1, and my house in season 1 was our first home that Kgolo and I bought.
Yeah.
It was a small home. It was 3 bedrooms. It was like, it wasn't huge. 400, like now, maybe curtains would cost 450K because we have windows that are like maybe 20 meters high.
Yeah.
Now this makes sense because those are custom curtains.
Yes.
But just in general, normal curtains, guys, no. Stop it.
Any last words for bullies?
For bullies?
People who intentionally want to, as you say,
hurt people. Do I have words for them? Do you know what? Honestly speaking, I have no words for bullies. I feel like it's a heart thing. It's your relationship with God. It's where you are in your life that creates that situation for you where you have a bad heart towards someone and you want to bully them and you want to say bad things and you want to just like you aren't okay within yourself, and I think I was very naive to think. I've been bullied, but not like that. There's been racism. There's been, I think my school bullies were people who didn't understand me because I was from Africa, and they were obviously from Europe.
Yeah.
So there was that divide. There was a misunderstanding. They've never experienced this before. But for someone who just has a bad heart, there's not much I can do for you or say for you. That's your own journey that you need to go on and decide what you want to do. So yeah, Satan is real.
Her parents in love refer to her as Kgolo Mthembu. We know her emphatically and with love as Annie Mthembu. She's a businesswoman, she's an entrepreneur, she's a reality TV star. She says she doesn't know how she feels about fame at the moment, but she's just riding the wave. And obviously she's building her brand as she rides the wave. So we hope to see more from Annie. We hope she'll come back to the show, and we thank you so much, Annie, for coming to our platform. We thank you for trusting us with your story, and we hope to see many great things from you. We also hope to see many great things in your marriage because it's been put up in the spotlight so much unnecessarily by people who have ulterior motives.
Yeah.
But we here at Engineer Your Life want the best for you.
Thank you so much, and I just want to say thank you to you as well. You have made me so comfortable.
Thank you.
I've never been this comfortable in an interview, honestly.
Yeah.
And you've really just made me open up in ways I really wouldn't
Yeah.
with other people. So thank you. Your energy is amazing. And
Sure.
I hope your podcast goes off. It flies, you
Kumele.
get the bags,
Ne.
dancing.
Yeah. The show is Engineer Your Life. I'm Lungelo KM. Click like, click subscribe, join, whatever. You know what to do. I say it all the time. I'll see you in the next episode.